The story begins in a quiet apartment where an elderly woman named Helga, who suffers from dementia, spends her days peacefully knitting and watching television. Her tranquility is suddenly interrupted by an odd sound coming from the air vent. Alarmed, she decides to call an exterminator. Due to her memory issues, Helga has to read her name and address from handwritten notes. Soon after, an exterminator named Frank arrives at the building. As he approaches Helga's unit, he's hit by the stench of something foul leaking from the vents and hears unsettling noises. When Helga answers the door, she seems disoriented and can't remember why she called or what the noise was. But when the strange sound echoes again, she lets Frank inside. Following a blood trail, Frank discovers another exterminator badly injured and wedged inside the vent. Suddenly, a sharp sound startles him. He turns, only to scream as something lunges at him. Helga hears his scream and sees him frantically trying to crawl away, but he's yanked back into the vent before she can react. Due to her memory lapse, she quickly forgets what just happened and goes back to knitting and watching TV. When she hears another eerie noise, she decides to call for another exterminator. The scene then rewinds to 4 days earlier when a fiery object falls from the sky and crashes in New York, landing inside a dollhouse. This object turns out to be an egg, and from it hatches a tiny spider. Helga's granddaughter, Charlotte, sneaks into a storage room to grab a doll for a social media photo. As she reaches for it, a spider suddenly appears on her hand. Startled, she traps it inside an empty matchbox just before someone enters the room. She flees through the air duct. Moments later, Helga's sister Gunter enters, notices a broken window, and hurries away. Back in her apartment, Charlotte hears Gunter arguing with her stepfather Ethan, accusing Charlotte of breaking into her apartment. Furious, Ethan confronts Charlotte. She rushes to her room and places the spider, now nicknamed Sting, in a jar. Ethan asks if she had been in Gunter's apartment, but Charlotte lies and denies it. The tension between them is clear. Their conversation is interrupted by a call from Sandy at the publishing house regarding Ethan's comic book. Meanwhile, Charlotte photographs Sting and posts it on Instagram. Her mother Heather then asks her to babysit her little brother Liam while she works. While Ethan, a comic book creator and part-time building handyman, is repairing plumbing in another tenant's apartment, a cockroach falls on his face, startling him. The tenant, Maria, thanks him for the work. A widow who lost her 2 sons, she reminds Ethan to cherish the family he has. Back at home, Charlotte feeds Sting a cockroach. Ethan returns and takes over watching Liam. Meanwhile, Heather checks in on her mother Helga, who is watching TV with Gunter. Helga proudly shows a sweater she knitted for Charlotte with a moth pattern and, in her confusion, mistakenly suggests Heather should meet her own daughter someday.